oddly non-denominational. I got a little bit of everything. But the reason I mention them is because my grandmothers are the ones who instilled faith in my life. They're the ones who planted the seeds. So if you have a child in your life, one of the most important things that you can do for them and the most powerful thing that you can do for them is to plant those seeds of faith. Because as I grew older, no matter how far I strayed away from my faith, I always knew that God was there because of my grandmothers. In high school was when I really started to kind of explore and go out on my own. And when I went off to college, with my high school sweetheart. In college, my senior year, we went on a date night. In North Carolina, the state fair is a really big deal. And it was a big deal for two reasons in my life. One is because they have a cheeseburger that's made with Krispy Kreme donuts. It's delicious. Another reason that this moment in my life was so critical is because it's the moment that took me into acting. You see, as a senior in college, I had decided I was going to dabble a little bit into acting. And when I walked into the state fair, there was this whole row of booths. And I looked up, and one of them said, "Do you want to be an actor?" And I thought, sure, why not? So I walked into this little itty-bitty booth, and I auditioned for this little itty-bitty commercial, and I happened to book it. I hope that commercial never sees the light of day. I'm glad it's very old. But nevertheless, from that experience, I found an agent who took me up to New York City, found a manager, and I had 21 different offers to come up to New York City and start working in acting. So I graduated college with my boyfriend, who had become my fiance at the time. He had the extended college career plan where he stayed an extra semester. So I planned to go up to New York City, and I had all these big dreams and aspirations. I was going to be famous, and I was going to plan our wedding. And then none of that happened. You see, God really taught me humility, because when I went to New York, the first thing that happened to me was rejection. I would walk into these castings, and casting directors would look at me and say, "You're not good enough. You need to lose 10 pounds. You're not tall enough. You're never going to make it here." And I started to base my identity and my success as an actress. I started looking at these people and believing what they were saying about me. Because you see, at this point in my life, I had rebelled, and I didn't know my identity. I was looking to be loved and to be admired in all of the wrong ways. So at that point in my life, I became really depressed, and I started struggling with alcohol and depression myself. And because I was putting my fiance through the ringer, and we were in a long-distance relationship, he broke up with me. And it just took me to the pits. I was all alone in New York City for the first time by myself, and I had nothing left to give. And I remember going to bed one night, and I had an incredibly vivid dream. And I remember that I was standing on the edge of this skyscraper, and I was looking out on all of the city, and I could just see the skyline, and I remember wanting to do nothing but jump off the ledge. I didn't think that my life mattered, but when I woke up, God revealed to me that He did have a plan for me, and I knew that I needed to get out of New York City. So I called one of my grandmas, obviously, and I said, "Grandma, I think I really need to come home." So I packed my bags, and I went back to my hometown in North Carolina. Now, everyone in my hometown had watched me go off to try and succeed in the big city. Everyone knew. And here I was back in my hometown with nothing. Now, because I was still struggling to find my worth and to be loved, I ended up having an unplanned pregnancy with my high school sweetheart. So here I was in the South, living with my grandma, unmarried, pregnant, but I had decided that I was going to keep my baby, and that we were going to fight really hard to be the best parents that we could be. It was not easy. I faced a lot of judgment. I remember I would walk into the grocery store, and I had to pay for my groceries with WIC. So people that I knew from high school, they would see me in the line paying for those groceries with government assistance. I was on Medicaid, and I really felt like I had nothing, but I knew that I wanted to be better for my child, because my child made me stronger. And I remember the day that he was born, I looked at him and I just thought, for the first time, it really clicked. Because my whole life I had thought that being a Christian was religion, that it was a checklist, that if I did all these things, then that made me a Christian, that if I broke certain rules, then I wasn't. It was about religion, and I didn't understand relationship. But looking at my son, I realized I loved him so much the moment I saw him. And if I could love him that much, how much more must our Heavenly Father love us? And I understood. From that moment on, I really gave my life to Christ. My boyfriend / fiance / ex-fiance / back to fiance, he actually decided to marry me. And now we've been together for a total